a Stephanie White, Caitlin Clark little interaction here that seems like Caitlin Clark wasn't too happy with whatever was going on between her and the coaching staff tonight. You got Stephanie White doing the yapping that she does. Caitlin Clark doesn't want to hear it. Physically cringing. Look at this. Physically cringing, looking physically ill. Looking physically ill. Physically ill by whatever Stephanie White's saying. Like, damn, I'm tired of hearing.
After one of the roughest games she'd probably rather forget, Caitlin Clark found herself at the center of an entirely different conversation. The final buzzer had already sounded, but instead of breaking down the box score, cameras caught a brief interaction on the sideline that immediately grabbed everyone's attention. Clark appeared unusually distant, and within moments fans began wondering if they had just witnessed tension between her and head coach Stephanie White. Was it simply the disappointment of a painful loss? Or had the cameras accidentally captured something much bigger unfolding behind the scenes?
I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed. This was straight up sabotage. Stephanie White, you are a bum. Aaliyah Boston, you are even more of a bum. You are a $6 million piece of garbage out there. Your ass can't make a layup. You refuse to pass the ball to Caitlin Clark. You stink. You stink. You've been intentionally not passing the ball to Caitlin Clark for the last 7-8 games. We've been watching and counting. I've been watching your ass not pass her.
Indiana's disappointing defeat only fueled those questions. The Fever fell 91-85 to the Dallas Wings in a game many expected them to win, and Clark endured one of her toughest performances of the season. Yet the viral moment that followed wasn't an argument, an ejection, or an emotional confrontation. There was no dramatic shouting match or security stepping in. Instead, it was a subtle exchange that left viewers replaying the footage repeatedly, trying to figure out whether they had just seen frustration spill over into something more.
Oh yeah, y'all thought we was done? We ain't done yet, dog. I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is letting all the cats out the bag. There's too much surrounding this team nationally and internationally. In regards to Sophie Cunningham, in regards to Caitlin Clark assaults, in regards to Stephanie White not taking up for her players. Should we keep going with storyline after storyline coming out about this team? And not to mention, Stephanie White not challenging any of Caitlin Clark's five.
Ironically, the lack of obvious drama made the clip even more fascinating. Clark seemed to turn away while Stephanie White was attempting to communicate with her, and that tiny moment quickly became the biggest storyline of the night. Was she simply overwhelmed after struggling through a frustrating performance, or could there be deeper issues developing beneath the surface? Normally, when a superstar has an off night, attention stays on missed shots and turnovers. This time, however, the discussion shifted almost entirely toward body language.
Stephanie White said, "No, get over here. Get over here, CC. Let me talk to you. I did it. Don't you walk away from me." Stephanie's like, "Yeah, I'm walking away. I'm walking away." Again, folks, not the most entertaining game. There were too many screens set for Caitlin Clark today. Personally, I wanted to see her be a little bit more aggressive. She finished taking 15 shots. Me personally, she finished the first half shooting 2 for 7. Shoot, if we're shooting 2 for 7, at that point, shoot 2 for 11. Keep hunting that shot. Keep hunting that shot. Keep hunting that shot.
That shift happened because basketball conversations can change in an instant. Fans often blame defense or poor execution after a loss. But when the relationship between a franchise player and her coach suddenly becomes the headline, everything else fades into the background. Indiana entered the matchup against a struggling Dallas team with a chance to build momentum, yet instead walked away with an 85-91 defeat that raised more questions than answers.
Dallas Wings won 91-85. I'm disgusted, B. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Kelsey Mitchell did have a good game. She dropped 37 points. She officially passed A'ja Wilson, so she has the most consecutive 20-point games. With that being said, Stephanie White, can we get back to trying to win basketball games now? She has the streak. She won it. She won it. Can we get back to trying to win now? Because I think this is nasty. All right, it was blatantly clear to me that she was making this game about Kelsey Mitchell, to the point that Aaliyah Boston's not playing good. Caitlin Clark's not playing good. Like, let me tell you something stupid. We ain't gonna win nothing like this.
Clark finished with 10 points, 9 assists, and 4 rebounds, but her shooting numbers told the story. She made only 4 of 15 shots overall and connected on just 2 of 8 attempts from beyond the arc. There is no reason to pretend that was anything other than a difficult performance. She missed opportunities she normally converts, never established a comfortable offensive rhythm, and rarely looked like the player capable of taking over a game with a single deep three or a brilliant pass. Still, many fans believed the bigger issue wasn't simply that she struggled. They argued she was never consistently put in position to settle into the game. That criticism wasn't directed at Kelsey Mitchell, who exploded for 37 points and did exactly what elite scorers are supposed to do. She attacked the defense, knocked down shots, got to the free throw line, and carried much of Indiana's offensive burden.
It had everything to do with them seeing Caitlin Clark climbing that MVP ladder, and they said, hell no, we are sabotaging this, and that is exactly what happened. The Indiana Fever lose to a team in the Dallas Wings that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. You could thank Stephanie White, who wanted to make it all about Kelsey Mitchell. I am disgusted with the Indiana Fever. I am disgusted. Stephanie White, get your bum ass in the trash. Get your bum ass in the trash. You are a bum of a coach. You are terrible. You are terrible. You mean to tell me the very first play of the game was ran for Kelsey Mitchell? Caitlin Clark threw her a bounce pass. Kelsey Mitchell went to turn the corner, got fouled, went to the free throw line.
The frustration centered on offensive balance. Many viewers felt Clark wasn't given enough early opportunities to establish confidence before the game began slipping away. They pointed to the limited pick-and-roll actions designed specifically for her, the shortage of movement creating clean perimeter looks, and multiple possessions where she gave up the ball without seeing it returned. That's a very different argument from claiming Clark should dominate every possession. No one expects the offense to revolve around one player while everyone else watches. But when one of basketball's most dangerous offensive weapons spends extended stretches standing away from the action, the attack can lose its identity. Fans believed Mitchell was intentionally established early, while Clark was left trying to rediscover her rhythm later, and by that point the uphill climb had already become much steeper.
When Clark get mugged, get hacked down there every play. We seen her get tackled tonight alone. Well, I'm ready to tell you, there's more, because Caitlin Clark is single-handedly, subliminally telling us fans that there's issues going on with Stephanie White. Now, Caitlin Clark was on the sideline. Stephanie White was trying to talk to Caitlin Clark. Now, this should not come as a surprise. When Caitlin Clark gets frustrated, she don't want to talk to nobody. And this was another situation like that. Only thing different is Caitlin Clark sat, she listened for a little bit, kind of turned away, walked away, went to the bench. Caitlin Clark got back in the game, got the ball, and Caitlin got like this move, a gesture. You can tell when Caitlin Clark not finna pass the ball.
Once an elite shooter loses confidence, the mental side of basketball becomes just as important as the physical one. Every miss increases the pressure attached to the next attempt. Each possession starts feeling heavier, and defenders suddenly appear more difficult to beat. Instead of reacting naturally, players begin thinking about previous mistakes. Clark seemed to experience exactly that progression as the game wore on. She became more aggressive later, but finding the rhythm that escaped her early proved increasingly difficult. Eventually, attention drifted away from the missed shots and focused on the now viral interaction with Stephanie White. The reality is that a few seconds of footage can never reveal the complete relationship between a player and a coach. Clark had endured a frustrating night. Indiana had just suffered a painful loss, and emotions naturally run high in those moments. The clip could simply show a player disappointed with herself. Still, because it involved Caitlin Clark, fans immediately analyzed every movement as if they were conducting an official investigation.
Down to, what did this thing end? Well, it's a 6-point game, but guys, that's a little deceiving. The entire second half felt like all wings. You kept thinking Caitlin Clark was going to get hot and start doing something. That didn't happen. Kelsey Mitchell had a big damn game, real big. But in the end, it was not enough. It was not enough.
That's the reality of modern sports. Once people suspect friction between two individuals, every glance and every conversation becomes potential evidence. A coach speaking to a player suddenly looks like criticism instead of encouragement. A player looking away becomes proof of a fractured relationship. Before long, one awkward camera angle inspires countless theories about problems no one can actually confirm. While much of the discussion relies on interpretation rather than facts, it also raises a more meaningful basketball question. Is Indiana consistently maximizing its offensive system? That discussion naturally extends to Aaliyah Boston, who finished with 14 points and 9 rebounds, but according to many fans, wasn't involved enough alongside Clark in situations that could have stressed opposing defenses.
Kelsey could be the only one playing good, and we're going to win games. Your ass might want to go look at her record before Clark got here. See how many games she was winning. She was winning playing like that. 5 games, 6 games. Her and AB winning 13 games in the season. Like, bro, you need Clark to be in her bag. When Clark is in her bag, the defense tightens up on her. Now people are open. Now Kelsey can cut. Now all kind of good things happen. When you go through Kelsey, everybody's just standing there. What don't you get about that yet? Like, oh my God. Like, Clark, please, I need you to get away from her, man. I know, I love Steph, we ride, whatever. We need you to go somewhere where you're a priority, bro. Because you're not the main priority on this team.
Those concerns shouldn't be dismissed, because Clark and Boston have the tools to become one of the league's best two-player combinations. Clark's range and playmaking stretch defenses in unique ways, while Boston's interior presence forces opponents into difficult decisions around the basket. When both players are operating in sync, defenders are constantly choosing between protecting the paint or closing out on Clark's shooting and passing. That's how elite offenses generate efficient opportunities. Instead, Indiana often struggled to establish that flow, while Dallas found enough balance to capitalize. Jessica Shepard dominated with 26 points and 8 rebounds. Araiko Gunbowale poured in 32 points, and Paige Buchers contributed despite an inefficient shooting performance. The Wings didn't need perfection because they consistently produced timely offense and punished Indiana's inability to find rhythm.
This might be the weirdest thing, ladies and gentlemen, I've ever seen in my life. Teams can't stop the fever, so now they're resorting to dirty tactics to defeat the fever, to slow down the fever. This can potentially, with no exaggeration, kill a fever. A player can lose their life from what's happening with these opposing teams that the Indiana Fever have played, not once, but back-to-back games. This is a very, very, very suspicious trend that is happening.
That's why the loss felt especially frustrating for Fever supporters. Indiana wasn't overwhelmed by an unstoppable opponent. It was a game many believed was there for the taking, making every missed opportunity seem even larger after the final buzzer. Once the defeat became official, fans immediately searched for explanations. Some blamed Clark's shooting struggles. Others questioned Stephanie White's offensive approach and the distribution of possessions. Many believed too much emphasis was placed on establishing Mitchell's scoring, while Clark never received the same effort to regain her confidence. The truth is that several of those observations can all be valid without suggesting some hidden conspiracy. Clark deserved criticism for her shooting performance, but Indiana also could have created better offensive balance. Likewise, fans can disagree with coaching decisions without assuming they were intended to undermine the team's biggest star.
Clark, I got to tell you, this is arguably one of the worst games she's ever had. 10 points, 4 of 15, 2 for 8 from three-point range, 9 assists. I know that looks like a double-double. Woof, it was rough. Kelsey Mitchell went bonkers, but she missed a layup. She had a big steal, drove in, up for the layup, and if she'd have hit it, it would have been a 3-point.
Unfortunately, social media rarely leaves room for that kind of nuance. After a disappointing game, many people don't want complicated explanations. They prefer a clear villain, asking whether the coach has lost the locker room, whether the superstar is secretly unhappy, or whether the entire organization is on the verge of falling apart. Real basketball is rarely that simple, even if dramatic narratives attract more attention than measured analysis. Still, Clark's body language mattered because it reflected frustration that statistics alone couldn't capture. She appeared disappointed with her own performance, the missed opportunities, and the way the night unfolded. The bigger question is whether that frustration ended with the final buzzer or extends beyond a single game. Mitchell deserves touches because she's one of the league's elite scorers. Boston also needs consistent involvement as an essential part of Indiana's future. But finding balance shouldn't mean Clark spends long stretches functioning as an expensive decoy. Great coaching finds ways to maximize everyone, especially when its biggest star is struggling.
Terrible. Dallas Wings head coach Jose Fernandez exposed Stephanie White in the worst way, icing Caitlin Clark out of the game. He let it be known the Dallas Wings' main priority was Caitlin Clark. They were fine with Kelsey going off because that means no one else was going to be involved. And they weren't even forced to execute their game plan that much on Caitlin Clark because bozo bonehead Stephanie White completely eliminated her from the game herself. Jose Fernandez just exposed this clown of a coach that the Indiana Fever have.
Sometimes all a player needs is one carefully designed opportunity to reset. A well-timed screen can create an open jumper. An easy basket can restore confidence. One successful possession can completely change the next several minutes. Once the ball finally drops through the net, confidence begins returning. Defenders must once again respect the threat, and the offense often comes alive. That's why this game represents more than another poor shooting night on Clark's stat sheet. It's a reminder that even elite talent depends on rhythm, communication, structure, and trust. Individual brilliance can win isolated possessions, but championship-caliber teams consistently create situations where their best players can succeed. If the interaction between Clark and Stephanie White was nothing more than temporary frustration, Indiana should move forward without lasting concerns. But if genuine tension exists beneath the surface, it becomes something that must be addressed before it affects team chemistry. With every Fever game already receiving enormous attention, unresolved frustration can quickly become an even bigger story.
All I'm gonna say is I've been saying this for a very long time, and we just got further confirmation about it. Caitlin Clark is the biggest threat in the league. Caitlin Clark will demand the respect of the coaches. Fans on Twitter, fans online, fans at home, their words are just meaningless, my words included. What really matters is how coaches plan to stop the biggest threat on the team. And it's clear that every coach may not come out and say it, but every game plan remains consistent. The goal is to stop Caitlin Clark first and leave Kelsey Mitchell second. We got to get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands first, and we'll live with whatever happens.
Clark remains one of the most closely watched athletes in basketball, meaning every difficult performance and every uncomfortable moment will receive extraordinary scrutiny. That attention can be relentless and often unforgiving. For now, the mystery remains unresolved. Did Caitlin Clark intentionally ignore Stephanie White, or did the cameras simply capture a few emotional seconds after an incredibly frustrating loss? Only the people inside that locker room know the complete truth. Until more evidence emerges, fans won't just be watching the next Fever game for the basketball itself. They'll be paying attention to every conversation, every reaction, every glance, and every interaction between Clark and her coach. Considering how one disappointing night evolved into a full-scale investigation driven by screenshots, slow-motion clips, and endless online theories, whatever happens next could easily become an even bigger story than the game that started the entire discussion.